I'm very happy to see so many Sierra Leone's today to get together here. And perhaps those who are not Ahmadis, that I have been to Sierra Leone, and it was a very memorable trip to Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone was, of course, dear to me long before, but after that particular trip to Sierra Leone, it became closer to my heart. It was not just a case of Ahmadis receiving me with open arms and with so much love. Everywhere, the whole society responded so wonderfully. Even the Christian bishops came to the gatherings and brought their followers along with them. And everywhere the reception was so cordial and sincere that I was deeply impressed. The second thing which impressed me about Sierra Leone so particularly was that they were very brave in expressing their disagreement on things, of course, but also brave enough to immediately accept the argument which was against them but which appealed to their conscience. They never chewed words regarding that. I remember in Rokupur, I think it was, that I went and during my first question answer session, like we are having a session today, the first person who got up like a jackrabbit, he just sprang up from his chair, was introduced to me privately by the person who was sitting next to me, that he is one of the most hostile imams of the area. And he has got up first and he is going to ask you some questions, embarrassing questions. We apologize, but we are sorry. So I said, don't worry, don't be sorry for me. Let him express what he wants to express genuinely, and I'll handle it, don't worry. So he asked me rather very rigidly and sternly the issue of Khatamun Nabiyyin. He said, there's one thing which separates you, cuts you off from us, the rest of Muslims. After that, there is no meeting point. So what do you mean by Khatamun Nabiyyin? And what do you understand by this? And then claim that there is a sort of prophet after the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when he finished, very calmly, I started responding. And it so happened that during that hour and a half long meeting, I answered only one question. That was his question. And when the answer was finished, again this Imam jumped forward and everybody thought perhaps he was going to attack me. And they rushed towards me. I said, no, don't let him come. Rushed forward and embraced me like, I was seldom embraced before. So warmly and kissed me and embraced me. And he said, now I know what the meaning of Khatamun Nabiyyin is. That Imam who had lived there for many, many years, being the head of the opponents, in presence of all those followers of his, who used to support him and applaud him for all the hostility he showed against Ahmadiyya, that man had the courage and honesty to immediately accept the viewpoint which he thought was supported by the Quran and by the Hadith and by the logic. So that is one particular aspect of Sierra Leone which I experienced everywhere. They were brave and very clear in their opposition to you, and just out of formality and so-called courtesy, they would not hesitate to express their disagreement in rather strong terms. But once you convinced them, they again had that nobility and that manliness in them to accept the defeat with smiling faces. So that is all about, for the time being, my memories of Sierra Leone. Late Mr. Joseph Mombo should also be mentioned with a kind word. He is no longer your president, but That man was a noble man, I know that. I met him. Whatever his shortcomings, whatever the shortcomings of those who surrounded him, and I repeat, those who surrounded him, they became the cause of the downfall. He himself was a noble man. God bless him and Allah bless Sierra Leone. So with that brief introductory address, I invite you to ask any question you would like to ask me, please. Yes? Now just a minute. I know you are an Ahmadi. Huh? You were born Ahmadi, aren't you? So why don't you first give the non-Ahmadi friends and visitors a chance to address to me their questions. If there is no one who wants to ask a question, then of course I will invite you and others. Yes, please. Have they made an arrangement for the microphone? Okay. After you have made up your mind to ask questions, you better come and sit over there. The chairs are already provided. It would save us time for people to come from different places and reach the microphone. So during the question and answer, some people make up their mind to ask the question. They are requested to come forward and sit over the chairs provided there.
Your Holiness, could you please tell me briefly about the Ahmadiyya movement in Sierra Leone as a whole?
Yes.
That's my first question.
And would you kindly briefly introduce yourself, please?
Yeah. I'm Francis Banskima, a Sierra Leonean. I attended Ahmadiyya Secondary School, Owajibu, Form 1, Form 2, and later I came to...
Everything there around the school, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Mr. Atta was my principal, who is here right now.
I see.
Thank you.
But they did not change your name, did they?
No, please.
See, that is the one difference about Ahmadiyyat in Sierra Leone and Christianity in Sierra Leone. When they introduced schools and education, what they did was that they changed the names of the innocent students who entered the schools from whatever names they had to Christian names. And they grew up under the impression that they had been born Christians. That is one thing about Ahmadiyyat in Sierra Leone. We have been very busy serving the cause of education and health, general health, but we never played any, if tricks is too strong a word, we never took any means except the straightforward ones for preaching Islam to Sierra Leone. Secondly, we never differentiated between a Christian student, a non-Ahmadi Muslim student, and a Muslim student, Ahmadi student. They had equal rights, they were treated with the same honor, they had the same freedom of expression, and Ahmadiyyat was never rubbed into them. As far as our relationship with Sierra Leone is concerned, I remember after you asked me to briefly tell you the whole history of our relationship with Sierra Leone. When I met your ex-president, he stood up and in response to my first presentation to him, he said, "Let me tell you one thing, that throughout our history of contact with Jamaat Ahmadiyya, we have not come across a single instance where Jamaat Ahmadiyya tried to meddle with politics in the name of religion. They knew the things which belong to different compartments, and they never